So in one of my last videos about the Rick Grimes movies, I posed a question: which actor, A-list actor, or just big name star that they can get in this movie that would make you extremely excited to go out and watch it? And there's been a little bit of an update here, some speculation time, so let's just jump right into it. Okay, first and foremost, obviously we don't know if this is going to happen yet, but if you're not paying attention to just everything going on in the Walking Dead universe with all the news that's been dropping over the last couple of weeks, it's likely then that you probably didn't see this. But after the release of Hobbs and Shaw, which is also a Universal movie that's part of the Fast and Furious franchise, Robert Kirkman tweeted out an extreme fanboy excitement for that movie. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and just in general, I'm assuming the Fast and Furious franchise as a whole. Funny enough though, The Rock actually saw Robert Kirkman's tweet and responded to it saying that they need to have the Walking Dead franchise and the Fast and Furious franchise interconnect in making an extended universe for Universal. Now obviously that's a joke, but one of the big things that came from this is that the Walking Dead themselves, I'll put this all on the screen, you saw it in the thumbnail, of what The Rock would look like as, and I can't remember the name of the character from the Walking Dead comics, but a prominent character in the Commonwealth storyline. They had this fan art done of The Rock, kind of showcasing what he would look like as that character. Now, Scott Gimple has already come out and said that the CRM and the Commonwealth are two separate groups within his Walking Dead universe. So if this picture is anything to go by, and what we know about Season 10 of The Walking Dead with the ending of Season 9 of The Walking Dead, we know that the main story of the television show is quickly approaching the Commonwealth storyline. And if they were going to go that route, the CRM has nothing to do with that community. Obviously, this fan art is just that. It's fan art. And to me, there's really no way, considering the prominence of this character and how long that they're going to have to stay within the Commonwealth in The Walking Dead, I'm pretty sure that that role is going to be too big for The Rock to come into the universe of The Walking Dead and play this character for multiple seasons, even if he is just in a handful of episodes. But what this does, at least in my opinion, if we can talk about the Rick Grimes movies and what it means to have a major hitting worldwide box office draw star of The Rock coming in to those films and giving a little extra punch for the Rick Grimes movies and hopefully making them a bigger success than what they're already anticipating. And I think Fear the Walking Dead did give us an indication of how they can use The Rock in the CRM and what his character can mean, at least for that first film. First and foremost, I want to talk about The Rock and what this would mean for the Walking Dead franchise if he were to be put into the movie in some way, shape, or form. A main character, maybe the big bad, someone who helps Rick Grimes in the movie. I'm not entirely sure, but it seems pretty clear based off of the performance of not only Jumanji, but also the Fast and Furious franchise, that The Rock is a major international draw. He's one of the biggest components of the Fast and Furious franchise, making over $1 billion over the last couple of films. And the fact that Hobbs and Shaw, even though it's a spinoff and it had the lowest opening in over a decade of the Fast and Furious franchise, it's a spinoff and we haven't seen it open up in China yet. To put that into at least a little bit of perspective in terms of how much the success of the Fast and Furious franchise relies on China, and the fact that Hobbs and Shaw has not opened up, at least at the time of recording this, in China, along with the opening of 180 million of Hobbs and Shaw versus the gigantic openings of the Fast and Furious franchise, despite it being a spinoff, is the last two Fast and Furious films opening up in China outside of Avengers Endgame, which just blew up records across the world, but primarily in China. But the last two Fast and Furious films were the biggest American imported films in Chinese history. Fate of the Furious nearly grossing $400 million alone within China's borders. And that really represents a major amount of money that was created and made from that franchise, with The Rock being so popular, with his star power being a side character or at least part of the draw with any movie or any major franchise over the last decade, being known as franchise Viagra. I feel like if he's up for it, because he has such a close working relationship with Universal, if they do put him in these Rick Grimes movies, then not only do you have the interest domestically, probably just for the continuation, or what are they doing with these films, but also an international draw with The Rock himself, making probably a bigger splash in China if they were ever to get this movie. So I'm not saying they're going to do this. I'm just saying the numbers are there. He works with Universal. Obviously, there is a lot of love between Robert Kirkman and The Rock, and maybe this is going to happen. I don't see him ever coming into the main television show. To me, with everything else that The Rock is doing right now, it doesn't seem possible at all, but stranger things have happened. I honestly would love to see him in the movie, and given the fact that Fear the Walking Dead introduced the CRM, and at least the general concept of the reclamation team and what Isabel was afraid of, having a force like The Rock being implemented somewhere in this movie, maybe attached to a reclamation team after Rick and whoever else he's with decides to escape the CRM, or whatever happens in this movie that's going to make Rick Grimes fight The Rock, that would be pretty awesome in my opinion, and it would be something I would really love to see. But I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Would you like to see this? Do you feel like this is stretching too far? Do you feel like the Rick Grimes movies can do well internationally or domestically, just worldwide, in terms of box office success to justify the next two films and the expansion of the Walking Dead universe on screen without major hitting stars like The Rock, who have proven time and time again that their star power helps drive movie franchise success, even if they aren't the main player within that movie. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. It's been real.